fan. Welcome to another edition of Trust the Process Live. Only on my new Philly, on my right, Max Coolish, on my left, returning to action is Everett Terry.
Called him up from the minors, baby. We called him up.
Minors? You kidding me? I'm a major leaguer in the offseason. You kidding me?
That's why I came in and took my seat, because it's mine.
Max just got ET at the knees. I'm Sean Northgrave. I'm hosting
Hey,
you
pleasure
tonight.
to have you back, brother. It's been a while.
We are live from you tonight in beautiful Devil's Alley, 1907 Chestnut Street. We're going to talk to you a little bit more about them later, but guys, the biggest story in the sports world today was the memorial service for Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna. And just what were some of your reactions? There was a lot that was going on, a lot of emotions, a lot of wonderful people saying wonderful things about the man and his daughter, including Vanessa, Michael Jordan, Diana Taurasi, Shaq.
I wasn't able to actually watch the ceremony. I think you were, so I'll start with this, and this is really the main thing that stood out to me in terms of the aftermath of the event itself. Maybe you have a different experience than me. I cannot, in my entire life, remember the world mourning a person for this long. The Super Bowl was the day that this happened. That was 4 weeks before. Day before, right? So it's been almost a full month since this has happened. And every place you look, everywhere you go, every NBA game that you watch, hell, even most college games that you watch, there's some kind of love being shown to Kobe, Gianna, and the other 7 people that were lost on that day. And I think really that's what stands out to me the most. I know we kind of talked about the basketball aspect of this a couple weeks ago when it happened. But to me, the thing that just stands out is the world is still grieving over this, and I don't want to say it's not normal, like it's a bad thing, but most of the time when people die, especially those of fame and everything, everyone remembers them, and then they move on with their lives. But it's been almost a month at this point, and it's Kobe and Gianna and the other 7 everywhere, so I think that's really just what stands out to me more than anything else.
So, a couple things. One, last time I was here, I talked in depth about the impact of the loss of Kobe Bryant to me on a personal level. And to your point, the reason why I think a lot of people mourn it is because Kobe turned into a better person post-basketball than he was during basketball. He was already a legend, a GOAT in his own regard as a basketball player. But the things he did outside of basketball, after basketball, the amount of lives and impact he had, only being a few years removed from, playing at the NBA level.
3 years?
Yeah, 3.5 years removed from playing at the NBA level, and to see the things he's done. He's already won awards for his short film, now being an active dad, full-time dad. And listen, girl dad is a thing. Trust me, I'm girl dad all day.
You are the authority on this show for that, for sure.
So understanding that, and then thinking about even now with the reports that the day of the accident, he reached out to Rob Pelinka and said, hey, listen, I'm looking for a baseball agent for the guy John Altobelli, who was on the plane looking for an internship for his daughter. That just goes to show that even in the man's last day on earth, he was looking to take care of others and reaching out to others. And that level of humanitarianism for someone so young, I think the last person in my mind that comes to mind, and think about it in a non-social media age, was Roberto Clemente.
Yeah.
A guy who was well known for his world, his humanitarian efforts, who died tragically. But think about it, it was no social media back then. Everything was delayed with newspapers. This was when it happened. People found out in a second and everybody was glued to their phones. So I think that's just the impact of it all. I mean, and the big thing was, if you listen to a lot of the people, you expected Shaq to say a lot of things. His wife showed great reserve, being able to get up there and talk in front of thousands of people, losing not just her husband, but her daughter. But even a guy like Michael Jordan, who literally says nothing about anything to anyone, got up there and gave you insight on who he was as a person, his connection with Kobe in ways people never even knew because they always remembered him as competitors.
He even cracked a joke.
Said, hey, listen, I'm going to be a crying face meme for the next 3 years. And you know what? Everybody laughed because you know what? Everybody remembers Jordan's crying face meme.
Time is a flat circle. History has a way to repeat itself.
And guess what? He's going to be a crying face meme for the probably next 3 to 5 years now. But the fact that he was able to take that and turn it and kind of bring something to it where it's always going to be tied to that. It's going to be something that people are going to remember. So it's, for what it was worth, it was a great tribute, an awesome send-off. It was well done. Kudos to the Lakers for the way that they did it. The fact, the timing, the date, everything. It's kind of weird how the stars aligned in such a tragic moment, but how it all worked out.
Especially the fact that the Lakers don't have a game tonight.
Correct.
The Lakers were able to put all efforts towards this today.
Everything lined up perfectly. And I mean, look at the people who were there. I mean, there were people from all sports. Guys who played in different sports were there. Athletes, celebrities. And of course it's LA, so it's a little different, but just the amount of people who came out, it was a big event, and it was a great tribute and a send-off to not just him, but also his daughter.
I agree. And one other quick thing, I think something else that speaks volumes about his influence on the game. I think if you ask any one of those players, they always said Kobe would have wanted us to go out there and play our hardest for him. But isn't part of playing your hardest not going to events the day of games? And I think that really transcends the impact that he had. Yeah, he would have wanted me to focus all in on basketball and my game tonight, But no, I can't do that. I have to be there for this.
And look at how guys have stepped their games up. I mean, the first one that jumps to mind is Damian Lillard, who went on a tear, was averaging 40+. Huh? Damian Lillard, 40+. Right after, like, literally said,
the first night of that Lakers game, he went crazy.
Went crazy and been crazy ever since.
Yeah.
So just the way guys have really stepped up, just not in basketball, but in all sports with their dedications and their tributes to their hard work and their effort, because now you truly get to hear how he was as a gym rat, as a workaholic, how he truly cared about being great. And that's something we can all strive for every day.
Yeah. And I think you had a great point on this, that the impact has lasted so long, and it's going to last, I feel like, the entire season. And you just take a moment like Lakers-Celtics when it's 81-81 with 2:24 left, and that picture was going around everywhere.
That's voodoo right there.
I think it's beyond that. I think it is this season is dedicated to Kobe Bryant in every possible way, and I think that's showing through in just the happenstance of this all, that 81 keeps coming up, that 2 keeps coming up, the 24 keeps coming up, that 8, all of these different signifiers for him, and it's going to last all year. We got to move now, guys, from off the court.
One last quick thing. All that you need to know about Kobe's impact on the game of basketball is that when Bill Russell was courtside at Lakers-Celtics yesterday, that man showed up in a Kobe Bryant jersey. Bill Russell. And that's a great point. That's all I'm going to leave it at.
And AI showed up in the 8. Yep. We got to move now, guys, from the off-the-court stuff in basketball to the on-the-court, because I'm wearing the Titanic shirt today. Philadelphia, this is for the team this year. This is for Al Horford's contract. We're here. With Ben Simmons out, are we about to learn that he is a more valuable asset to this team than
you didn't know that
Joel
already?
I was just going to say it.
You didn't already know that?
At this point, when Ben missed time earlier this year, whenever he misses those random sporadic games, you can tell the team is not used to playing without him. At this point, they know how to play with Joel Embiid. I might just be making this. I feel like there have been times where they've actively practiced, being like, all right, we don't have Joe. Let's practice without Joe being a part of this practice. You know what I mean? They have gotten used to it, and they've kind of had to. With Simmons, it's different. When he's healthy, Brett Brown will regularly put him out here for 35+ minutes a game. I think that's really the big thing that you're missing, right? You're missing your starting point guard who plays almost 3/4 of the game every single game, and then you're asking guys like Howell Neto or Josh Richardson to run point, right? And there's definitely a clear drop-off in all that.
Of course.
And I think that is really what the biggest adjustment is, because they don't really ever have the time to learn how to mesh without Ben, because from all accounts, in game and at practice, that guy goes as hard as he can. He might not shoot jump shots as much as we would like to, but he does not. He's one of those ultra competitive guys who is going just as hard at practice as he is in game. So when that's not there in practice, it's not there in game, you don't really know what it's like, because he never has that 80% mode. It's either it's game mode or he's not playing.
And so before we get to UT, I just want to thank Devil's Alley for this amazing assortment of food. If you see us stuffing our face, just don't mind us. Keep focused on who's talking about sports while the other two of us grub in here. E.T., Ben Simmons, more valuable than Embiid to this team. What do you think?
So, it's funny.
Is it?
If you asked me 2 years ago who was more valuable to the Sixers, I would have said Embiid because of his trajectory. But one thing that you always know is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And Embiid's problem is he doesn't want to work hard. He doesn't take care of his body. He doesn't take care of his conditioning. He's always flat when he needs to show up big. And he does more talking than playing. And I don't want to tell athletes to shut up and play. That's not me. I think that part of what makes Embiid a lovable guy is his off-the-court banner and his character in terms of how he plays the game and has fun with it. I get it. He connects with millennials and younger fan bases in a different way. But you can't do that and then get on the floor and get embarrassed.
Yeah.
You shot 5 for whatever last night, and Giannis owned you. Okay, this is the team that you were going to have to beat to get to the finals.
Yep.
And y'all have gotten destroyed every time you've played them. The game.
That's not true. That's completely not true.
Listen,
do you not,
Giannis,
do you literally not remember what happened on Christmas? Look, I'm not saying the Bucks aren't better than the Sixers, but you're blowing steam out your ass if you say that the Bucks destroy us every time.
Here's where I'm going with it. I'm going to give you that the Sixers got up to play the Bucks the one game they played them on Christmas. Right, and then they turned around and got spanked the game right after.
There's a reason that we all wanted to play the Bucks in the second round last year,
But they aren't going to want to play them this year.
Hell no.
Right.
Hell no.
You know why?
Nobody wants to play the Bucks
because Giannis is the most determined player in the NBA this season.
Yes.
The guy said, listen, I won an MVP, and that's all nice and great and well, but my goal is to win a championship. I let my team down last year. I'm taking the onus to put more time in the court than anybody else and to work harder than everybody else. The fact that he's added a 3-ball to his repertoire makes him literally unguardable. Yeah. There's nobody in the NBA that can guard him at his height, at his speed, at his ability to create, and the fact that the team literally rallies around him, and the Bucks did it right. What the Sixers should have done, surround the entire team with shooters with the exception of your 2 stars. The Bucks have 1 star, and they've got a sub-star in Chris Middleton. Everybody else is a shooter. There's no... Brook Lopez shoots 3s. Are you kidding me?
So does Robin Lopez now.
Both Lopez brothers shoot 3s, and everybody else around them is a shooter. So all they do is say, Giannis, go do what you do. Everybody else is ready for the ball. And that's how you build it. They should have done it with Ben and Joel. Instead, they take Redick, let him go to New Orleans for money, and then they overpay Al Horford, who clogs the paint, can't play, and now you've got a $30-something million guy riding your bench, which is stupid because of his age. They're never going to be able to move that contract.
I mean, you could have just stopped at you have a $30 million guy on the bench, and that's stupid, and I would have agreed with you right there.
The problem is, I understood what Elton Brand was trying to do by bringing in a veteran, a winner, a guy who clearly can come in and add a dimension that this team
and a guy who was known as an Embiid stopper.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the biggest thing.
And he taking him from Boston, it helped. But the contract's bad. The way Brett Brown coaches is bad. The way he utilizes them is bad. And what it does is creates a situation where Ben can't do what he does, and Embiid can't do what he does. And now you've got a liability on the floor because Al Horford, as good as he is also very slow. You already got Embiid who's slow. So the only guys on the perimeter can guard anybody is Ben Simmons and Josh Richardson because Tobias is great, but he's not a great defender.
No, definitely not.
And he's a guy that's a good 3, but not a good 2. And right now in this system, he's asked to be more of a 2, especially now with the fact that you know Simmons isn't going to shoot. Now Simmons is out. Now he's definitely got to be the 2, and he can't handle the pressure.
See, I actually say with Simmons being out, that makes him more of a 3 because you're going to naturally, by playing Neto or Thibault or Korkmaz, whoever is going to be that player that's going to be taking all those minutes, they're more inclined to shoot than Ben is, and I actually think that's going to help Tobias, right? That helps him get more comfortable, helps him get to his spots. I'm not
afraid of Raul Neto taking 100 jump shots a game.
I'm not either.
I'm afraid of Toby Harris, and I'm going to put a body on him when he's the only other guy on the perimeter I worry about.
I agree, but I'm just saying that doesn't confine him to the three-point line like we have seen when Simmons is in the game and needs to be ball dominant.
Yeah, so we're kind of beating around it, so let's get into the next question, which I really think is the meat of this.
I'm surprised ET didn't bring this up already. Props to you for not jumping the gun.
Really,
seriously.
I'm going to let you guys have it.
So, Embiid comes out and says, I'm the greatest in the league.
Yeah, you go first on
the
this.
league.
I'm not even...
After a game that they allowed a 44 to what, a 10 run
against the
Nets.
That was a wonky game.
What do you guys make of it? What is he trying to prove?
I think he likes to hear himself talk. He doesn't know what to say.
Absolutely, he does.
And listen, I know people who know him personally, and they say that's just his personality. He's a jokester, and I get it. But you have to understand, perception is reality. You can't say that and then play flat against a team you should dominate. You can't say that and then get destroyed by the Bucks. Again, you can't say that and have a team middling around 6 that a lot of people thought had a chance to go to the NBA Finals this year that most people don't have getting out of the first round, myself included, because they can't win road games and they're not going to be a top 4 team. These are the problems that you have. And when you have your best player as a big man in a league that's gotten away from big men, you just saw Clint Capella, who was having a monster season, get moved to the worst team in basketball because the Rockets would rather play small ball than have a center out there on the
6'5"
floor.
center, PJ Tucker, baby.
So here's my point. You're taking all the key pieces and you're looking around the NBA, and Embiid is a guy who 15 years ago would have been one of the best players in basketball. But right now, the only league he might be the best player in is the Sixers league between him and the D League. He's the best player on the Sixers. He's not the best player in the league by far.
No.
I don't even think he's the best center because of the fact that, yes, he can score, but he doesn't bring it every night. I don't want that guy as my big.
That's fair, and this is why I let you go first, because honestly, how am I going to sit up here and reasonably debate those points that you made? Honestly, I'm not. You know that I'm always happy to debate, but I'm not going to go out on a limb and put my neck under a guillotine to look stupid.
Fair.
You know I'm not. But I will say this. I've done this before. I'll go hopeful Sixers fan anytime I need to. I will say this. He has been vocal in saying that he has not really been enjoying the game. I am hoping that him being able to talk reckless and go back to the Joel Embiid of 30 games a season with no pressure on him, I'm hoping that can kind of help the mentality. Look, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that it's smart what he did. In fact, I agree with you. I think that is the worst possible thing to do. My man put his foot so far in his mouth, he's tickling his heart with it, okay?
Correct.
I think it's the dumbest thing he could have possibly said. But my hope is that him being this goofy idiot helps him love the game and helps him find that motivation that it is not there every night. Look, I'm trying to do my best here to spin this positively, and that's the best I got.
I would give you that if he were the goofy, dumb idiot that brought it every night when he was the goofy, dumb idiot. He's the goofy, dumb idiot and didn't bring it every night before that. So what's the point of him going back to being something that he was when he still didn't bring it? I get it if he actually brought it.
I would say the only difference is before, I don't think he was physically capable. I think all of the injuries, the wear and tear, the massive growth spurt and everything, I don't think even if he wanted to, he could play his hardest in that first season.
How about stop eating 4 chicken sandwiches, 3 fries, and 5 milkshakes at Chick-fil-A?
Hey,
that would help.
That would
How
help.
about get a nutritionist and run on a treadmill sometimes? He's oversized.
That seems like
for
it's
his
more of a
body
team
build.
problem.
Agreed.
That should not fall on the player to do that.
You got to take care of your body.
You got to take care of your body.
You're a multi-million-dollar athlete. Your body
But if you're not
is
being
your
held
asset.
accountable for your body, that's more on the team than it is you.
That's a Brett Brown problem.
Can I throw some cold water on your hope?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just so that we can get like a clear understanding of this, because I've been thinking this for a couple weeks now. Is Embiid is he like the new age Dwight Howard? Is he
wow.
like, is there too much noise? Is there too much, all this other stuff? Is there too much that he needs to get
I'm going to beat ET to the punch while he's still eating. I'm going to say don't compare Embiid to 3-time Defensive Player of the Year and Finals attendee Dwight Howard.
There it is. I was going to say, how the hell can you compare to a massive 3-time DPOY and probably a Hall of Famer?
Hey man, you guys, you know that I love the Sixers. You know I will ride for Embiid, but you know I'm always very subjective when you ask me to do these things. Dwight Howard's a Hall of Famer, Embiid is not yet. He's not.
Agree.
He did the Eminem freestyle rap battle thing. He took the bullets out of the gun. Well done, Max.
I mean, he said exactly what I was going to say. I'm like, compared to Dwight Howard.
I'm saving us time, you energy, you were eating.
Maybe compared to Dwight Howard when he was in Atlanta. That's about the only Dwight Howard I compare him to. He's better
What
than
about
that
the
guy.
Dwight Howard that was in Charlotte?
Or the Dwight Howard that was in Washington not playing all last year because he had a butt injury.
He's been on 10 other teams, so we could be here a while just doing this, but we should talk about just the abominable Sixers-Bucks game that happened the other day.
If we have to, I guess.
What does this, especially if this Simmons injury is more long-term the way Simmons is talking about it, the fear, some of those words that he's using makes me really nervous as a non-Sixers
Honestly,
fan.
I actually don't know what words you're talking about, and I want to keep it that way. I'm going to la 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 la. If you try telling me.
He just said that he's scared about what the results of the MRI is going to be on his back.
Listen, he may have a hernia and be out for 2 months. You know what, though?
I mean, that's kind of what happens
This
when you
food
play a
is
guy that
amazing.
much.
I want to take a quick pause and say these wings are everything, and these nachos are everything.
I got to
twice
get back
removed.
in here.
Everything.
Yeah.
Back to what
I haven't been. I'm keeping it professional up here. I've had one nacho since the show started.
I don't care.
I'm trying to keep things moving.
$600.
Don't talk with your mouth full.
I'm trying to keep the show moving here, Max. We're on the same page. $600. Like, is it as abysmal as that? Like that is that what Sixers fans have to look forward to? Simmons
I don't think it is. This happened last time Simmons got hurt in game. They just deflate. They rely on Ben for so much, especially defensively. We cannot hang with Milwaukee defensively without Ben Simmons. We just can't.
I don't think they can hang with Milwaukee. I don't think they can hang with Toronto. I don't even think they can hang with Indiana. To be honest with you, I don't like them against any of the top tier teams in the East because they can't win road games. And if you have to depend on Joel Embiid to bring it in a must-win game, I don't trust them.
I do.
Maybe he's gonna have a stomach ache, or he's gonna be tired.
Yeah.
He's gonna get stopped by a guy he's 3 inches taller than. I don't trust him. And if Elton Brand wants to save, and I'm gonna say it now, and I'm gonna put it on the record, book it, Dano. If he wants to save his career as a GM, the smartest thing that he can do right now is pick up the phone and trade Joel Embiid.
Except for he can't.
Trade him. No, there's too many teams that would absolutely take him.
Oh,
All
I
the
mean,
bags that comes
he
with him.
physically isn't able to right now because the trade.
But you're
deadline.
saying
Well, yeah,
when the
but
summer
you
rolls
understand
around-
what I'm saying.
I'm
saying
yes.
in the off season is the time to move him, because here's the thing: you could bring in another coach, but now he's got years of embedded Brett Brown BS into his brain. A guy who coddled to him and never held him accountable to anything, didn't force him to work hard. Outside of bringing in Phil Jackson, who the Sixers can't bring in, there's no other coach that I think that could command the amount of respect to get an immediate change out of him and Ben. I think the right coach can still get Ben because he's young. But Embiid is so embedded in his brain with ego, thinking that he's the greatest. You're not going to be able to get him with the standard coach. So the best thing is to move him and let him be somebody else's problem. Ship him to the West. Let him go out there and see, playing against Jokic and guys like that every single night, getting destroyed, seeing what it is that, you know what, you're not really as good as you think that you are when you have to play with other people on your level in the East. There's not a lot of guys around him that he has to compete with. What other bigs are there in the East? But you put him in the West, you've got guys that can compete with him and give him problems. Cousins will probably be back next year. You got Jokic out there. There's
Cousins is not the example you want to use, but I get where you're coming from.
I like Cousins to work him out. Anthony Davis will sure work him out. Yeah. I like Anthony. So the point I'm making is
Joel has gotten the best of Davis traditionally head to head.
That's fair. That's fair. But what I'm saying to you is
put him in a
I
conference
get what
where
you're saying.
he doesn't have the same, oh, I'm the best big man in the East.
He doesn't get the Knicks 4 times a year. He doesn't get the Wizards 3 times. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying.
Doesn't get the Hawks with no big man. He, you know, so, and then you build the team around Simmons the right way. You surround him with shooters and you let him run and dictate the floor of this offense. Because say what you want about Ben Simmons not being able to shoot, he still is extremely dominant at the point guard position and almost
Defensive Player of the Year
unguardable
candidate.
when
Don't
he
tell me
brings
otherwise.
the ball up and down the floor in a fast break. You can't stop him. Outside of Giannis, he's the only other guy that I think is unstoppable in the open court.
Yeah, and you saw how much fun
Russ
the team
still.
was and how much
It
fun
was
they were
fun
having
watching him
playing
run down
there.
and play.
Yes.
And he's finding open shooters and he's finding guys and he's aggressive going to the rim. I don't care if he doesn't take a jump shot. Magic Johnson was a terrible jump shooter the first couple of years of his career too. They used to
Jason
call him
Kidd,
Tragic Johnson.
same thing.
Jason Kidd. Listen, some guys just develop late. And listen, Ben Simmons, keep in mind, he ain't 25 yet. He got time to develop a jumper. Should he have already done it? Yes. But people's expectations of him to turn into, you know, J.J. Redick from the field taking jumpers isn't realistic.
Yeah.
What's more realistic is seeing him grow. And what you have seen him do is grow defensively. You've seen him grow with his playmaking ability, and you've seen him grow with his overall skill set from what he was when he was a rookie.
Yeah, no arguments there. Dude's the most important piece on the team. We've said it. I'll say it again.
Yeah, and that wraps an amazing first half of the show. Great job by both of you guys. Great job by this entire place right now. The Devil's Alley, the atmosphere is incredible.
Get in there.
This
I'm done.
food
I'm
is
done waiting
incredible.
around.
And to
I'm
tell
getting
us
nice
a little
fat
bit
on.
more about it is one of the main demons here, Mr. Lennard Eisen. Lennard, welcome to the show, man.
How you doing, guys?
Welcome, man. Ooh, got
Just
you.
great, because my hands are dirty.
Leonard, you got to tell us about this place. It is incredible to be here. When did it start? What's some of the key things that people should know about it? Let us know.
Devil's Alley. We're here at 19th and Chestnut. We got craft beers, local craft beers. We got wings. They're awesome. The dry rub. We got burgers, bar food, calamari. Come check us out. It's great.
You got plenty of places to watch the game as well.
Plenty of screens.
And I heard before, we're right here, Leonard, right here with you. Those are the people of Philadelphia. If you want to talk right to them.
We're already here. You don't need us to come
Yeah.
back.
We heard you had some hot takes on the Sixers. Were you ready to uncork those?
I'm ready.
I'm
I'm
listening.
ready
All right,
to burn
I'm
the
here.
house down.
We're ready, man.
Let me wipe
Let's
out
do
the
this.
mouth real quick so I don't have any shrapnel on you.
To me, what's wrong with the Sixers, it's not a Joel Embiid problem, like you said. It's not a Ben Simmons shooting threes problem. It's not a Brett Brown problem.
Ooh,
this
that's
is
a
an
plot twist.
ownership and front office
Okay,
problem.
I can get
We
down
need
with that.
to sell
Right
the
to the
team.
top.
Josh Harris,
Sell the
Michael
team.
Rubin, these losers have just squandered every asset we've had for 3, 2, however many years they've had. You know, we had Joel, Rocco, we had Ben, Dario,
Last
and
year
now
with
we've
Jimmy
got
Butler.
Jimmy Butler, yeah, you know. And now we've got Al Horford in the tail end of his career, $100 million. Doesn't fit with he doesn't fit with either of our stars at the same time. Like, he's all right for Ben. He can't play with Joe. We got
And the two of them together with Horford on the floor is like
They're too slow.
college
slow.
team scoring
and
level.
we got Tobias Harris. He's all right, but I mean, they signed him for
100 and whatever million.
180 million because he didn't make a stink in the locker room last year. They couldn't get anyone better. I mean, like
My man's here with the heat.
Yeah, this is
this,
awesome. Leonard.
this
Keep going.
I mean, they had it perfect. You know, they had 2 superstar kids. They're still 23 and 25, and now it feels like the championship window is just completely gone because they've squandered every single asset, and now we need to give up more to get off of 2 albatross contracts, the worst 2 contracts that were signed this summer.
Whew.
That's how I
know,
feel.
I don't know if I'll totally agree with Tobias being number 2 worst, but Al Horford is clean sweep at the
Now,
in the league, it's top five.
I'm going to say this. Because a lot of people argue that what they should have done is gave up on Horford and got Jimmy.
Right.
Here's my counter to that. Jimmy and Ben don't fit. They
Right.
couldn't play together. We
Right.
saw that. We saw that Jimmy was ball dominant and Ben was ball dominant. And who are you going to invest in? A much maligned star who gets injured a lot, misses
Yeah.
a lot of time, and is on the plus side of 30.
And
Or
they're
are you
right
going to
now.
go with a young budding star who has the ability to grow and become one of the best players in basketball? So I get why they didn't take Jimmy
Yeah.
over him, and I get that getting Josh Richardson gave them back a wing who could play defense and supposedly stretch the court.
Right.
Where they messed up and totally blew it was the Al Horford deal. I think if they
Yeah.
went and just got a bunch of complimentary shooters, the J.J. Redick types, the Ersan Ilyasovas, the guys who could just sit out there on the wing and just shoot the ball and then play solid perimeter defense when you got Josh Richardson and Ben Simmons out there, let Embiid guard the rim, you have a better team.
Right.
So that's where they went backwards. I get it though.
I almost feel like you're making his point though. the problem. I don't think Jimmy
I
Butler
agree.
wanted to stay
No,
here.
and Jimmy
the
Butler,
trading
he
for him
wanted
was
to be
the
the guy.
problem in the first place.
He wanted to be the guy.
And he goes a month this season without making a three-pointer. He's not helping our team. Like, he can get to the rim, but he's shooting maybe like 24% from three in Miami. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not saying
exactly what he's shooting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jimmy Butler
24.5.
is not the answer that I'm talking about. I'm just saying, like, Joel and Ben can carry the franchise, but not if you have these guys slowing them down, getting in their way. And it's just a waste, you know?
So who would you have went for instead of Al Horford in the offseason?
Someone I really like, Bojan Bogdanovic. The
like
Jazz
that.
signed him
Great
for
call.
maybe like
That's a great
Yeah.
We
trade.
tried to trade for him
That's
before
a
the
great
trade
trade.
deadline.
That's a great trade offer.
Yep.
I like the way he fits too.
no, not on the Kings, the guy on
You
the
talking about
Jazz.
the Jet-
Yeah.
you're talking
Yeah,
about-
he's a
Not
little.
Bogdan. Bogdan's king.
Bogdan is great, too.
Bojan is the one
Bojan is-
who went from
yeah.
Pacers to Jazz.
Yeah,
Offseason.
he got
You're
maybe
good.
like 4 years, 75,
Yeah.
80,
Right,
something
kill
like
him.
that.
And
So
he
that's
fits perfect.
30
Yeah.
million less than Al Horford. You signed another complimentary piece.
And he can
Steph
play with
Curry.
Harris.
Yeah,
He could've.
He could have, definitely. And he shoots
Yeah.
40% from three. He can run a little pick and roll, you know, spread the floor out, pass. I mean, that he would have been great, but
I'm
we
not
got Al
disagreeing.
Horford.
Well, Leonard, if the Sixers had your Heat coming off the bench, they would be in much better shape. Thank you so much for coming. Just plug Devil's Alley. Where can they
Yeah.
find us on social?
Devil's Alley, 215, I think, on
You can just hold it up.
Twitter.
If you
Yeah,
want,
yeah,
man.
just
Yeah.
throw it up.
Devil's
Alley, Philadelphia on Instagram.
Philadelphia,
correct?
19th and Chestnut. Come check us out. Thank you.
Thank you,
We'll see
Leonard,
you.
so
Yes,
much.
thanks
Great
for
job,
having me.
man.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
And this food comes with the fire too.
Yep.
Man. Listen,
Yeah, it's incredible, man.
We're being very tame on camera. I'll leave it at that.
Well, thank you so much to Leonard, and thank you again to all the great people here at Devil's Alley. But before we get into the second half of the show, a little bit of rapid fire, we are going to go to a minute with Max. I'm going to draw this out so you can get some chewing in. So apparently, the Philadelphia Flyers are still playing hockey, and they're playing it.
They are?
all right
They're
right
playing
now.
it well, baby.
It was
Let's
a
go.
surprise to me as well, ET.
Listen, I know Carter Hart. That's the only person I know.
we
All
got
right.
one.
So let me help
Max,
you out
fill us
here.
in.
So hockey, right?
Yeah, that's the puck game.
Yes, yes. It's like lacrosse, but on ice.
Got you. Okay.
Right, a super popular sport, lacrosse, right? So the Flyers. It's been a while since we checked in. The Flyers are now sitting third in their division,
Uh-oh.
right? So
Watch
there's
out now.
two divisions in each conference, top three in each division, automatic playoff spot. So right now, they're not even fighting for a wild card.
Hey!
Would you have believed it a couple months ago if I said they're 2.5 games back of the Capitals and 1.5 games back of the Penguins for the next two spots in that division?
Oh, they're right there. They're in the
Exactly. And guess what? In the month of March, 7 games against playoff teams, 1 against the Penguins, 1 against the Caps, 1 against the Hurricanes, who they're fighting against for wild card spot. You got the Bruins, who are one of the best teams in the league. March is going to be a big month for the Flyers.
I've heard their coach has done an immensely
Yes.
different job.
Al-
made them
Alan, and I always
extremely
mess up his last name, so I'm just going to call him Alan Vigneault. Thank you. That guy, you want to talk about a turnaround job? The Sixers could use Alan Vigneault. That guy came in, he said, this is how it's going to be done, and guess what? That is what happened. The Flyers have not been without injuries this year. One of their best defensemen, Shane Gostisbehere, fell off a cliff.
Gostisbehere.
Fell off a cliff production-wise. Remember when we were giving away the Gostisbehere shirts on
Gostisbehere. I remember.
TTB 2
Yup,
years ago?
yup.
Nobody wants that anymore, I promise you. My man got sanctioned to the minor leagues. Okay, so this is how far we've come, right? So last two things here. The Flyers just made a trade, NHL trade deadline, right around the same time as the NBA one. So the Flyers traded for 2 people. Both of them are centers, which is the guy who plays in the middle of the 3 people that are closer to the net. That's that's offense. They have that in other sports. Right? Okay, cool.
Offense, we got that.
So Derek Grant, kind of a career journeyman, but is having his best year in his career so far. Is 22 points at this point of the season, on pace for career high in points, career high in goals, not in assists, but I'll take it. Good depth. And the other guy they got is more of I don't want to call him enforcer because they try to really kind of kill that role in hockey, but he's in close to as an enforcer as you're going to get in the modern game. He is straight 4th line,
Bully.
depth.
Donald Brashear.
Yes, he is penalty kill depth.
remember Donald Brashear.
Dude, exactly.
Donald Black
I don't know if we're doing Donald Brashear service comparing him to Kyle Crisciolo, but he is going to be a big part of the penalty kill, which is something you absolutely need to have against the good teams. Boston does not mess up very often with penalty. Washington does not mess up very often with power play.
700 Club.
Yeah,
You know that.
exactly. Sidney Crosby and Malkin, I don't need to tell the people watching at home what they do when they're on the power play, right? You need guys like this to compete, especially against top offensive heavy teams in the Eastern Conference. So I'm going to say this. I've said it all year. Whenever we had that moment to talk about the Flyers, they are still playing with house money, but at this point, they are home stretch of the season, and they are in a playoff spot. Not a wild card spot. They are in a playoff spot. So I'm going to say this, like I do every time. Give the Flyers a watch. Please. You might see something good. And guess what? Playoff hockey, say what you want about every other sport, basketball, football, baseball, soccer, lacrosse, darts, cornhole. I don't care what sport your sport of choosing is. watch playoff hockey. The Flyers will be there. Get to know them before they do, and that way you can call everybody else who's like, oh, I watched the Flyers for the first time all year. In game 1 of the playoffs, you call them a bandwagon instead of it being reversed on you.
I give all the credit to Gritty.
Yes, exactly. And big shout out to Gritty for escaping the law.
Yeah.
He did. In
hurt
fact,
somebody?
he almost got sued for allegedly punching a kid, but the charges were filed months after it happened, and unsurprisingly, it just seemed the father was out for a quick cash grab and to get his name out there. So big shout out to Gritty. You fought the law, and the law did not win.
Okay, that was a lot. I hope the Flyers make the playoffs. If the Flyers make the playoffs,
I take
we'll
the
talk
most
about
of my
them. How about
most
that?
of my time, man. We talk about hockey once every couple months on here. Let me get it on.
Hey, man,
I got it.
they make the playoffs, they'll get in the main show.
I've actually heard their name like 5 or 6 times in regular races, so that lets you know that they're actually winning because
That's what happens, man.
I mean,
Winning brings attention.
that's it, man. All you gotta do is win.
Well, guys, that
Hey
was
man, if you looked on the Instagram comments, most nights when the Sixers and the Flyers play, Sixers comments are not better than the Flyers.
No.
Hockey fans are just generally more positive. We have to move on now from A Minute with Max.
Delco, the
to-
center of positivity in the world.
That's they say that actually. It's the happiest place on earth. We have to move now into rapid fire. We're doing a little overrated, underrated, properly rated today. We're going all over the board, so stay with us, Philadelphia. But we're starting with the NFL Combine.
Okay.
It's coming up this week. Do you guys think it is overrated, underrated, or properly rated? And before you get in there, let me tell you something that's definitely underrated, and that's Joe Burrow's hand size.
Oh, I saw
that
this
does
as
not
well.
matter. It
You
doesn't
beat me
matter.
to it.
It
You
doesn't
think you're
matter
going
to
first. I'm
anyone.
taking some of these column
It doesn't matter to you. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to the teams that are going to get their butt whooped by Joe Burrows when he gets into the league, even if he goes to Cincinnati. That's my take. Combine, I can take it or leave it.
So I think it's properly rated for specific targets. So if you're looking for a guy's 40 time, but you're not looking at his on-field production, that matters. I mean, you look at a guy like DK Metcalf who came in, had an amazing combine, and produced. But then you think Mike Mamula was a combine workout king and then came in the NFL and was average at best. So it's kind of a pick and a go between what matters to you. Certain positions like quarterback, I need my quarterback to get higher than a 4 on a Wonderlic test. Like that's just me, because I need him to be smart enough to know how to run it.
Oh, you're making James Jackson sick right now, knowing that Jameis Winston might not have scored higher
Listen,
than that.
I have nothing to do with that, but listen, Jameis Winston also is Mr. 30 for 30. So I want no parts of a guy that, has a hard time reading defenses and reading schemes. Guys that can play instinctively, yes, that's great, but there should also be a certain level of natural intelligence.
Yeah.
Like a Pat Mahomes, who can show you what the difference is when I can actually understand and read a defense versus not. But like I said, 40-time workout times, things like that, those matter to me. But in terms of other things like bench reps and stuff for like wide receivers, I don't care how strong my wide receivers. I need to be able to get free and run routes and catch the ball.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say the Combine is overrated strictly for the fact that it doesn't matter what a player shows you in a cone drill or a 40-yard dash or whatever it is. You as an organization need to be able to find the players that you think will fit your schemes, fit with the other talent around you. It doesn't matter what they show, right? The Eagles weren't able to properly identify that, even though people were calling DK Metcalf a combine warrior, he's just he's just an 8-pack who can bench a lot. Yeah. It turns out that a good organization, it turns out a good organization drafted a guy who's known as a project going in and made it work. It also shows exactly, and look at all the teams that take high picks on gambles, like the Raiders do a lot until they got John Gruden, or the Browns were doing for 50 years straight, or even the Bengals do it sometimes. And obviously, I'm hoping that doesn't happen to my boy Joe Burrow, but there's a reason that bad teams stay bad in the NFL, and that usually starts at the Combine by thinking they can take a square peg and fit it into a round hole.
Yeah, and I think that. So, what do you guys think that are some of the things that the Eagles should be looking for at this Combine? Any players or position groups specifically that you really want them to target?
Unless they're not going to do what I want and they're not going to make the big move up for CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy, they better be so goddamn sure whoever they pick at 21 is the best receiver for them. And if that guy might not be there at 21, you do what you got to do to get him, because it's not going to be the same cost as trading up to 11 or 12 for Lamb or Jeudy.
Flatline receiver, no wiggle room in that. 21 has to go to a wide receiver.
I'll say this, if the only way I'm not heavily leaning wide receiver in the first round is if someone drops so far down the consensus draft board that you absolutely need to take him, that's it. Like, even in that case, I'm really having a hard time justifying it as I'm speaking it out, because I don't really know what they need more than wide receiver. And the fact that there might be 5 or 6 of them taken in the first round, I don't really know how you can justify taking another position. I don't.
Yeah.
So here's where I know the Eagles do relatively good. Offensive line and defensive line in the first round. They suck at literally picking everything else outside of Carson Wentz. And maybe Donovan McNabb. In the first round, if they're not getting one of those, they suck picking anything else. And so My thing is, do I trust them to pick the right wide receiver? Not the fastest, not the biggest.
That's why I said the right one.
The right. And this is a heavy wide receiver draft. But they're the kind of team I could see taking T. Higgins because he has the pedigree, he has the name. But the guy's slow, and he's Alshon Jeffrey 10 years younger. I don't want that. You want a guy that's going to help burn the Jets off the defense, get yourself Henry Ruggs, Henry Riggs, you know, and guys that can stretch the field for you. So the point I'm making is they got to make the right pick. But it also matters what they do in free agency and what their target is in free agency, because if they go out and they get a guy like an Amari Cooper, who a lot of people said that they're tied to, and they bring him in, do they really also need that when they still got D-Jack for another year? They've got J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. You know Greg Ward is pretty much cued in as the slot now. You don't want to put too many guys out there and now you have a conundrum. I like Greg Ward. I like the fact that you're going to have J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, even if he's a 4, because he basically replaces Matt Collins. I do like the fact that even if you get 6 games out of D-Jack, that's still 6 games where the defense is going to have to account for him. Okay. So if you get Amari Cooper, do you need another wide receiver? No. They just have to put the money in the right place and get that albatross of Alshon Jeffrey off the books.
I'm talking present moment right now. Obviously, if they're able to land the prize fish of Amari Cooper, then yeah, I'm obviously not dead set on receiver.
I think the face that you were reacting to is you assume that there will be a year of Deshaun Jackson when we all know that there will be about 4 weeks of Deshaun Jackson.
That's why I said 6 games. If you get 6 games out of him, that's a win.
That's fair. Okay. We got to move. We got to swap some sports now, guys. We're going from football to baseball. Overrated,
all
underrated.
2 people that care about the Phillies.
Overrated, underrated, properly rated, or not rated at all. Spring training baseball, and I'm going to go with the last one. I'm going to say not rated at all. I don't think they bang the trash cans in spring training, so that means there's no real games going on.
So here's my thing about spring training baseball. I'm going to give you a name, Nick Pivetta. And I've heard for years that Nick Pivetta is a spring training champion, and every year it's going to be Nick Pivetta's year. And every single season, once the season starts, Nick Pivetta looks like trash truck juice dripping down your street every other Tuesday.
He'll have one start where he goes 8 innings strong.
And then the next 3, he'll be terrible, getting rocked by the 3rd. I don't want to hear another Nick Pivetta. I don't want to hear this is year if Vinny Velasquez figures this out. I don't want to hear Zach Eflin's turning a corner. I don't want to hear Arrieta's finally healthy. You've got 2 pitchers in this rotation. You've got Wheeler, who at best is marginal to slightly above average, and you got Nola, who's your rock. Average. But Aaron Nola, honestly, in my opinion, is a 2, not a 1. You saw last year when he had to be the 1, he did okay, but not great to what 1 should be.
He got the Cole Hamels treatment where the Phillies would lose 1-0 like every game he started. The numbers do not tell the story for Nola. That dude is very clearly one of the best pitchers in baseball, and I think Wheeler will be a good sidekick to him. I will say this, spring training baseball, possibly the most overrated of any of the preseasons.
That's fair.
Because guess what? You have professionals, major leaguers, playing against single A, double A, triple A, and college kids, all in the other team's lineup, right? So all that is are really just, to me, intense workouts. Exactly. They're going through the motions. They're getting your body back into the swing of things. They're not the NFL preseason or the NBA preseason. It doesn't matter. And I'll also say this. ESPN's got some nerve, because I have the Phillies as a favorite team and I get their regular season score updates. ESPN has some nerve giving me the score updates for all the Phillies preseason games. I got 3 of them, and I'm like, I don't care that the Phillies are playing the Detroit Tigers right now. And I went and I very hastily turned off all notifications. So hopefully I'll remember in 2 months when the Phillies are back on for real to turn them back on. But ESPN, you really got some nerve sending me some score updates. Like I give a damn about what's happening on February 20th.
Would you rather watch spring training baseball or the NFL preseason?
Yeah, that's my
NFL
point.
preseason.
Absolutely.
You're wrong.
NFL preseason.
I agree with
A big exciting play can happen anytime in the NFL preseason, and I'll say it's maybe even more likely to play.
Exciting play. Wait. Time out. How many NFL preseason games have you watched in the last 5 years?
None. That's not true. I watch Eagles preseason every year, and that's infinitely more times than I watch preseason baseball. Give me 1 second, and I'll raise you this. That kick return touchdown that guy on the Browns had last year, that's going to have more people talking about it than any single thing that happens in spring training baseball, barring major injury to
and that's where I was going. I was going to say that the more exciting is obviously football, because people just pine for football. So any football, which is why the XFL actually is getting some viewership, matters. But that said, I would say that it depends on what week of preseason we're talking about. Because the one where none of the starters play, nobody's playing, and you're out there watching me, you, and Max playing football in jerseys looking all like terrible slobs, you don't want to see that, okay? Yeah. What you want to see are guys that are playing for jobs, that have something to play for, that are going to make a 53-man roster, not bagging my groceries at the Kroger. I don't want to see those guys. So
It all depends on when. But spring training baseball, pretty much from start to finish, there's a bunch of guys pitching 1 and 2 innings, a guy taking 2 or 3 at-bats, not really carrying.
It's like an all-star game, but for people you don't know.
Right, but he hits 420 and then comes to regular season, hits 183. Like, get out of here. Like, go pound sand. I don't want to see that.
All right, we got to keep moving. Here.
Okay.
We spent way too much time talking about spring training
We just
baseball.
keep beating the
I like
dead
this
horse
next
that
one,
is
though.
baseball.
Yeah, this next one has a punch to it, as
Literally.
some would say. So, overrated, underrated, properly rated. Mr. Bronze Bomber himself, Deontay
Before you
Wilder.
go, just want to say I called it Tyson Fury.
Okay.
Listen, the Bronze Bomber got bronze bombed. Are you kidding me? First of all, he walked in there with the Shaolin Cow, you know, Mortal Kombat Master Shredder outfit on, and then used it as an excuse as to why his legs weren't under him when he got rocked all night long. The one thing I'm going to tell you is the fact that Deontay Wilder, for all of his undefeated record, has blemishes in his game. He's not a good technical boxer. His footwork stinks. He doesn't block and defend well. He depends so much on his great equalizer, which is that right hand. So when you come and you bring a fight to him with a bigger, stronger guy who can lean on him and put weight on him and wear him down and actually connect with punches because he doesn't have good footwork and good defense, now you put him in a fight that he has a hard time winning. I heard him say, I could beat Mike Tyson in his prime. First of all, that man couldn't beat Mike Tyson, Cicely Tyson, Tyson Chicken. He couldn't beat anybody.
wow.
Are you kidding me? He stinks. And what it shows you is that he needs a trainer that actually cares, because what I noticed in that fight, he's getting his face pounded in, and his trainer's saying 3 words to him. I'm like, are you watching the same fight I'm watching? Are you going to tell him to move his feet, duck the jab,
Don't
slip
get hit
the
by a
jab in?
punch.
How about set your punches up? He did none of that, and his trainer did him a disservice. The only thing he did great was throwing the damn towel like I was watching Apollo and Rocky 4 or 5 or whatever which one it was when he fought Drago. Listen, the point I'm making
This
is...
guy doesn't know his Rocky. Come on.
Shut up. Shut up. Listen, the point I'm making is Deontay Wilder needs a Teddy Atlas to come in. Teddy Atlas coached one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, in Mike Tyson, and refined his natural skill set and turned him into the beast that he was for a good portion of his career until he got caught up in the situation. That said, Mike Tyson, with that footwork and that ability, is what made him great, is that power, but the ability to use it with technical sound boxing. If you give that to a guy like Deontay Wilder and teach him how to set up punches and how to use his body, how to use his jab, he becomes such a better boxer. He can actually beat Fury. Right now, I don't think he wants the rematch. If it's me, his ego's going to make him fight him and lose again. Yeah. But at that point, he's going to fall for
What do
the
you have
ranks
as
of
a fighter
quality
besides
heavyweight.
your body, your mind, and your ego?
And
That's it.
And let me pitch it to you like this. What was the biggest thing that you saw was the difference between fight 1 and fight 2? And can it change so much that Deontay Wilder would look at it and say, you know what, let's do a fight?
Everybody knows
the biggest
third ones
difference.
always suck.
The biggest difference is Fury didn't sit there and let Deontay bring the fight to him. He took it to him the other way around. And what you noticed from the first round, he was on top of him. Pause. He was, and he made him very uncomfortable. And so at that point, a guy who's already got extra weight on him is coming to him and bringing the fight to him. So he doesn't allow him to load up that right hand. And now he's got to fight in small spaces and tight corners. What made Mike Tyson so great is the fact he could get inside, literally be an inch from you and knock you out. That's the ability to load up that hand without having a lot of room and being able to deliver a punch. Deontay doesn't have that in his skill set, and that's training. You letting him hit y'all for 3 hours in the gym, but not teaching him the basics on how to be a better fighter. So you hope that this humbling experience makes him go back to the lab and learn on what he needs to work on. But in honesty, Tyson Fury's the greatest heavyweight in boxing right now. I don't see anybody beating him for a while. Anthony Joshua was no part of him. He struggled with Ruiz. So I don't think that, you know, even if they fight each other, it'll be a big draw and all of that. But most Americans don't really care about him fighting Anthony Joshua because he's not an American fighter. But for the
I
sake
feel
of
like
boxing,
Joshua's got enough weight in his name.
He's got a name, so people will watch it. But the draw was watching Deontay Wilder because he was our guy from the U.S. And, you know, he had a swag and a bravado to him, but he just wasn't a really great boxer. He just was a fighter. And so he has to work on his game to get better. That's all I got, man.
And how much more can? That's all you got? You
That's
sure?
all I got, man. I think that's it. I think that's it.
To zone hire this man. Damn.
Yeah.
I'll take a job. Thanks.
Anything I say can't nearly compare to that level of analysis, honestly, because
Well, I boxed for a little bit.
Exactly. Like I don't know boxing like you do. I got no problem saying that. So I'll just leave it at this. I think he's properly rated as of this very moment. I think a lot of people that know the sport, including yourself, saw him get exposed in the way that he did. But before then, he was undefeated, 40+ fights. Dude is a monster. Just because he had one pretty poor showing doesn't mean that he's still not one of the best fighters in the world. But I think as of this very moment, he's probably properly rated as a guy that if he connects you with the right, you're probably going to go down. And if you can just do all the technical side of things better, you'll probably beat him. So.
And we got to switch sports once again, guys, as we're moving through rapid fire here to Max's favorite league to gamble on recently. It's the XFL.
Hey,
we talked about it.
Have been covering that over.
We talked about it 2 weeks ago. Now I'm going to check in with you guys. Overrated, underrated, properly rated. the XFL. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna say underrated. Like this isn't even me just trying to get like that XFL sponsorship or be an influencer or anything. Like shout out Vince McMahon, if you see me out here, let's talk.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I honestly like maybe this is just like you just got to keep it pumped into your blood, the football. But like I kind of enjoy watching the XFL. I think the differences in the week-to-week product of the XFL and the NFL are enough to keep it interesting. And the level of play isn't so poor where it's like, let's be honest, XFL games are definitely better than watching like any probably.
Week 1, 2, 3,
I mean, I wasn't even gonna say that. I was gonna say probably better than any like non-top 25 team related game in college football. Like if you're watching Northwestern versus I don't know, someone else terrible like Nebraska maybe, Rutgers, yeah, like. Are you really going to watch that, or would you rather watch the best two teams in the XFL play? So I'll say this: I think the fact that they're a couple weeks in and they're still, they haven't fully lost the head of steam. That's more than the AAF ever did, like by a long shot. Exactly. And the XFL is still very much kicking at this point. So I'm going to say the XFL is still being slept on. I think the big test, and I'm sure we'll talk about it then, when the playoffs hit, I think that's when you'll really know how popular it is as a league.
I think that Vince McMahon learned from his first time he launched this, and he got smarter. So the sign of a good businessman is realizing when you've made mistakes, correcting those mistakes, and doing it better the next time around. Most business owners who own businesses usually fail the first time, and then when they get their second business, they're successful. Same thing happened here. Vince McMahon walked into this knowing he's going to lose north of $300 million, and was okay with it because in his mind, when it hits in year 3 or 4 for $1 billion TV deal, he makes his money back 3 times over. But what he realized is I can't go in there half behind in it and throwing a little bit of money in it. I got to be prepared for the long haul to watch this thing through. And when your guys know that you're going to be fully funded and you can get quality play out of a guy, shout out to TU, PJ Walker, who comes in and plays well. Yeah, I know.
I not say the rough next to my squad?
I was coming in on that.
League MVP.
It's Phillip now.
Oh, sorry, Phillip Walker. No more PJ. Okay.
Don't worry, the same thing happened to me
Listen,
when I
no more
when I
Pajama
shouted him
Walker.
out.
All right, Phillip Walker's out here playing and making plays and looking like a league MVP. But the point I'm making is, when you've got guys playing at that level, what that shows you is, hey, you know what, NFL, you got a crop of guys that you could potentially pluck from for when, you're down 2 quarterbacks, Eagles. You need a backup because Sudfeld's out. Nick Foles is in Jacksonville stinking it up, and you don't have anybody else. You can call up PJ Walker and say, hey, come on here and sign a deal. Yeah, Josh McCown's going to sit there and hold a clipboard, and be a quarterback's coach wherever he's going to be. But you can get a guy like a PJ Walker to come in and, hey, come here, play behind us and teach us some things and add that dimension to the offense. I mean, schematically, he fits with what the Eagles do in terms of RPOs because he's an RPO kind of guy.
It's definitely the perfect balance of guys who are definitely good enough to be in the NFL for a roster spot, with the guys who still love the game enough where they don't want to just sit on the sideline, right? That's the competitor in it. So I'm all in on the XFL.
So we're staying with the egg-shaped ball here, staying in football.
Rugby?
There's a new NFL playoff format that will be coming around once the NFL signs its collective bargaining agreement. We're going to get to this in a second, Max. Overrated, underrated, properly rated, the new NFL playoff format.
I think this question is subjective because this is your personal opinion on this playoff format. So I'm going to put it quite frankly. This playoff format blows. I hate this, and I couldn't hate it anymore if I tried. There is such a huge difference usually between the second best team in a conference and the third best team in a conference. I think it is absolutely criminal to only give away 1 bye and let teams that are 9 and 7 squeak into a meaningless playoff game and take a team who last year, who were the second seeds. You had the Packers and you had the Chiefs, right? It would have been criminal to make one of those 2 teams play in a meaningless first-round game that they're going to absolutely smash. It would have been the Chiefs and the Steelers, I think, and the Packers and the Cowboys, right? Like, yeah, Packers-Cowboys would have got great ratings. What?
The Chiefs and Steelers is a good game.
Both of those games are great games. You're making your point for us.
They were terrible offensively. Last year. Look, I'm going to leave it like this. The NFL has the best playoff system in the world. It's the best one of any leagues. It's better than 4 rounds of best of 7s like the NBA has and the NHL has. The NFL playoff structure makes it so unique and so captivating, and I think they're really, really ruining that if they decide to go for this cash grab and add the 7th team.
Well, it's happening.
I'll go a step further and say I don't hate the format. I just hate the way it's set up. So in my mind, I would have went to an 18-game schedule with 2 byes. And here's the reason why. NFL guys take a beating through the season. And to ask them to get up for 1 more game in exchange for a meaningless playoff game where a lot of guys don't play now puts more wear and tear on their body. And we already talk about diminished quality of football on short weeks and shorter schedules. But now, with a second bye, you could bracket schedules where guys that play on Thursday don't play till the following Sunday, but they also don't play the Sunday or Monday before, so they get a full rest. You could bracket and structure it that way so guys truly get an opportunity to heal up and put quality football on the field.
That would have been the way I did it. I'm okay with the playoff format because I don't mind another playoff game to watch and gamble on, but I don't like the fact that you're right. They take away the second bye. What I think is just add the additional playoff team and still leave the 2 byes and just let them play the first weekend and go that route. I think it would have been a better showing. Now, the one thing is me, and help me understand, I think they should do automatic reseeding. I think that based off of how guys line up with who wins what, it should automatically reseed. And I also think that guys that win their division should not automatically host a home game. I think it should be record-based where the teams with the better record get the home game. What's the point of winning a home game in a tough division if I'm going to have to go on a road and have to play a team that was below 500 or at 500 for the end of the season? To me, there should be something to pay as a compliment or effort for, hey, listen, you went ahead and you had a better record than this team that got in. You're going to host them in the playoffs. They're already in. That's their reward.
Before we go to the end of the show, I'll say this. I actually would have liked it more if the NFL just ripped off what the MLB wants to do and say 2, 3, and 4.
Yes.
Pick out of the bottom 3 who you want to play. I think that is actually more suited for the NFL than any other sport because where does bulletin board material come from? The phrase football. Any given Sunday, football, right? I think.
And guys like Drew Brees will say, you know what, I don't really want to go on the road and play in Minnesota.
Yeah.
You know, we're playing, New York.
You don't have to be a cold weather guy if you get to choose.
You can come here and come play in the dome and we can light you up.
So,
I agree.
I hope, because I have heard that that has been resisted by the Players CBA with the 17th regular season game and all that. Personally, I think the owners are really trying to make a joke out of the Players Union with this. I think everything they're proposing is pretty terrible, and they're all doing it with the give back of, well, we won't test you guys for pot anymore. And it's
a really
right.
Like,
they're saying we'll let you go ahead and smoke weed, but we're only going to max your salaries at $300,000. Now, to the top 10% who earn 95% of the NFL salary, they're like, I can sit on strike for a year. I don't care. I got millions. Yeah. But to the other 95% of the 1,600 players that you've heard Seth say multiple times, those guys sitting there like, listen, I don't know how I'm going to feed my family this month without a job. And you better have some couches and some cots ready for folks to come and crash at your house because a lot of these guys don't have the financial awareness and wherewithal to manage their money properly to live within their means when they're outside of football. And so that's
how many times have we seen an athlete go broke?
Yeah, listen, there it is.
Whole documentary on it. That was the end of Rapid Fire. The second half of our show, guys, we got to move to tap outs now to wrap us up. Who wants to start here?
You want to go first?
So
guest of honor.
Hey, that's fine. My tap out's a little different. It's always about something. But hey, I am enjoying being girl dad. So I am girl dad, and to the core, I love it. I got one daughter that said, Dad, I want to play basketball. I got another daughter that just picked to go to my alma mater, Central High School, for high school.
Nice.
Great job. My baby got in first try. That was her first choice, and she got right in. So I'm enjoying these moments, and listen, things like that are what add value to your life. You can do all the things in the world. You can have all the money. But it's moments like that, things that you can't replace, those memories, those quality, things we laugh and joke about. And I'll tell you guys real quick, one of the things I do with my daughters, and they're going to hate me that I say this. So if you guys saw The Lion King, there's a scene where Simba's young Simba, and Rafiki looks like he sticks his hand in something and rubs it across their head and says Simba. So what I do is I wet my finger and rub it across their head and say Simba, and they hate it. But that's our little thing that we do, so they hate it because they're like, Dad, I don't want your spit on my forehead. But I say, hey, listen, better my spit. So, hey, whatever. So
that's great rationale.
Hey, listen, better my spit. So that's what we do. But I love and appreciate every single moment of that, and I live for that. And listen, I'm happy that I get to do something in this venue, in this arena that I love to do as a passion. It's something I've been doing for a number of years, and I'm happy to be here. I thank you guys for welcoming me back, man.
Come on, man.
Of course,
Anytime.
There it is, man.
Anytime you want to be here, we're here for you, man.
I appreciate it.
Mine is a lot simpler. I don't have kids or really anything major, but I actually think you kind of gave me a good preface. I don't want to go as far as to say the D word, but maybe in the last, over the last couple months, I've just kind of been in a funk mentally, and it just really feels like maybe over the last week or two that I've just kind of gotten past it, right? It just feels like that mental anvil that was on my brain is now gone. So I'm going to say this: if you ever feel like you need to talk to someone, and it actually helped me a lot talking to someone, not someone professionally, just like one day, just kind of came out and just felt better after. So look, check in on your friends. Mental health is as important as it is ever. And just, be aware of what's going on, because a lot of the times people going through something like that, they're not gonna go out of their way to show you, or they're not gonna do anything that seems out of the ordinary. But if your friend seems to be a little quieter than normal, they're not coming out with you as much, just whatever it is. If something seems off, check in on them. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Mental health gets enough, good publicity as it is. They don't need me doing any more caping for it. So stay with your friends, check in on them when you need to. If you feel like you're underneath the mental weight, talk to somebody, whether it's professionally or on your own. Just find a way to get it off your chest because it helps. It really does.
Well done, Max. Really nice from both of you. I wish I had a better tap out as a result. I just really want to thank the brothers Quill. You may know them, Day and Nye. They helped me through this entire week. Day Quill, Night Quill. You guys get that? If you got to explain the joke, it's not so funny.
I think it's better. I had no idea.
I was in a rough shape for the last 4 or 5 days, and I was in the night putting on NyQuil in the day, picking up DayQuil, and I got through it all right. So shout out to you, whoever made DayQuil, NyQuil. You want to sponsor the show? I'll take as much of it as you can possibly give me. It made me feel incredible. But I want to say just thank you to all the wonderful people here at Devil's Alley who also made us feel wonderful, made us feel welcome.
And the wings.
Literally all of the food you see in front of you is amazing. Thank you to Lennard Eisen for coming and joining, giving us amazing hot takes. If you want to come down to Devil's Alley, it's 1907 Chestnut Street. They're Devil's Alley Philadelphia on Instagram, and we're Trust the Process Live. Almost forgot our name. Only on My New Philly, where something's always new and everything's always Philly. Thank you guys so much for checking us out.
When the Sixers win the title, no, I'm not going to go that far.
Yikes.
What?
I am about to drink
Sixers
this.
are going to miss the playoffs. That's what's happening.
I like that.
Grizzlies are going to miss the playoffs, too.
The guy on the